What's up, y'all? Hey, things about to get real personal. So if you ain't mature enough, you might want to politely excuse yourself. But if you're mature enough and you really want to know about things that nobody's talking about, that I experienced, because shoot, I didn't even know. I thought I was the only one experiencing what I was experiencing. And I feel like I need to share my story. So come on. If you're real mature enough, ready to handle this, come on in my house. I welcome you. Something that we need to all know about. Come on. All right, we'll pull a chair up. Come and have a seat with me. Now, don't come to my table with me and enjoy conversation if you're not real about it. Because things about to get real. So to begin, it all started on a Saturday in like November. And this was about a couple years ago. Believe, you know, we work and shoot. That COVID took us through a whole year, right? So possibly about 2 years ago. And working on 2 years. Jeez, that's crazy. Nah, maybe it's a year. Anywho, don't matter, right? So it was a Saturday and I was tripping out because I was feeling like pressure, something that, you know, reminded me of when I was pregnant. And look here, I'm not pregnant, nor could I be. And I was tripping out like, what the heck is going on? And so I'm like, shoot, I need to talk to somebody because this is real. So, you know, I started making some phone calls to my personal homegirls to ask them, yo, you experience anything like this? Because, you know, it's a real sensitive subject and you ain't trying to put your business on the street like that, right? So you got to be selective about that. And so I'm like tripping out. And I literally, this was something so serious that I was like, yo, excuse me, could you, somebody help me with this? I needed a specialist. I didn't want to be repeating my story to somebody who might possibly know. I needed to find out from somebody who had the credentials, who was something specialized in the area of possibly what could be happening. So I Googled. And you know, as I was Googling, you know, prolapse kept popping up and I'm tripping out and I'm reading the symptoms and it wasn't really everything that I was experiencing. And so I said, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, said a prayer to ask to be guided and went ahead and just, you know, called a specialist. Set up an appointment. Wasn't a part of my insurance, but hey, I figured it's worth figuring out what's going on. It has to do with my body and I'll invest in that. So paid for the visit, which was like $100 and something. You know, it's not cheap, right? But who cares? Because I figure like this, I'll pinch pennies. I'll get that change off the floor in the car, in the couch, whatever I gotta do to make it happen. So then I go to the specialist and he does an examination and he's like, yeah, I don't see a problem. I'm like, you'll be fine. You know, you know, there's nothing to be concerned about. I'm like, nah, I know. Now something I know is I know my body and I will learn my body. And I was like, yo, it's something going on inside that's not cool. I need to figure that out. So I decided to go to a second specialist. This particular specialist was a lady. And so this lady, she listened to my concerns and then she decided, you know, she gave me an examination and she as well said, you know, she wasn't concerned and she had me doing this examination where it was, I call it the Captain Morgan, where you like stand up on a chair and you know, put your foot up there and they have you hold your bladder for like, you know, I drink a lot of water, so my bladder was hella full. And it was like, you know, cough and see if you she, right? And if y'all don't know what that means, you know, go pee. But no joke, nothing, I was cool, didn't have problems in that area. Again, it's not your case, you know, typical case study, symptoms or, you know, all the characteristics that come with what could be a prolapse, right? So that's why my story needs to be told. So anyway, through the examination process, I'm telling this chick, I said, look, I want surgery. I don't know what you need to do, but I figured once you get up in there, you can figure it all out. But something in there is not happening and you're not able to see based on the examination that you're doing. So you got to figure out something because let me tell you, it ain't cool. Whatever happened ain't cool. So I went ahead and she, solid mama, scheduled my appointment for surgery. She trusted in what I was talking about. And so during that process, believe it or not, you know, she told me that she's so glad we did the surgery, because when she got up in there, she was like, girl, it was so terrible. Now, based on what she was talking about, you know, I had this scar tissue that was built up from having all my 5 children, and apparently had torn each time. And you know, this is where your maturity level got to come into play, you know, but this is real life. And so because I wasn't cut, I just was allowed to be, you know, just tear. The scar tissue had built up. Now, I had been doing my pelvic floor exercises through everything I do. See, I'm not your typical patient who would, or yeah, I guess you could call me a patient who would be suffering from such things, right? And there's this idea as if your punani is stretched out that you're gonna have this issue, and I promise you that's not what's happening, you know? And so that's why they weren't able to see what was really going on, because my pelvic floor was so tight and so intact that it wasn't, you know, so obvious that there was something happening. And so the wall that goes all the way up into the cervix, and part of that was, there was scar tissue. And I guess she had explained that there was like a flap or something like that. And that's where the pressure was coming from. And I felt like I needed a push. Mind you, I'm not pregnant, and why I gotta feel like I gotta push? And I ain't talking about, you know, a bowel movement push. Now again, here's your maturity, so, you know, stay with it. And so anyway, you know, that goes into the story of what I'm sharing with y'all. That the way that I've been training all this time, it's about really almost as a core exercise. You know, whatever movement I'm doing, whatever weight I'm pushing, everything first is initiated by me initiating my core. So it's like an ab exercise throughout everything that I do. And by my pelvic floor muscles being intact and engaged throughout, I mean, I was imagining a string was being pulled up to the ceiling, everything I was doing, from deadlifts to squats to you name it, I was doing it. And that's something I still in my clients as well. And so much so that it saved me for so many years. So, you know, lifting weights, I've heard, you know, can cause prolapse. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter if you had kids. There's something going on with you inside. Shh, don't be scared, you know? No shame. Find out what's happening. Go to a specialist. You want to know more about my story? Hit me up. Leave me a comment. Personally, we'll contact each other and we can discuss details, you know? But the fact is, what you give your body, and really think of the foundation that you're laying and how you're doing what you're doing in that gym through those exercises. Not about just rapping through stuff. It's about really understanding your body and working through those things. Now, what I found was extremely important is through my rehab process. Again, it wasn't your typical rehab. You know, a lot of times we're a little too conservative with ourselves. We don't know the ability our body, you know, can really miraculously recover itself if we give it what it needs, and we really need to get our mind out of the way. And so with that, I'm sharing my story because it said 300 million women in the US alone are experiencing this. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy, because I've never heard about it. Why? Because nobody's talking about it. Look here, I ain't got no shame. It ain't got nothing to do with your punani being stretched or loose. Ain't got nothing to do with that, because that was not the issue. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all out there. Whoever this video touches, inspires you, if you're out there suffering, baby, you do not need to suffer. You know, there's people out there that specialize in this, and they need you to know your body. You know, just because they're a specialist doesn't mean they know everything. So you need to learn your body, connect with your body, do some research, man. If you need somebody to be on the team to help you with that, I'm all for it. Sign me up, reach out to me, let me know. Man, if I don't know, I'll do the research and be there with you, a part of that. But the reality of it is it boils down to this. Don't have shame. It ain't something you did wrong. It's not your fault. And there's no one way. A prolapse, there's so many different ways that can be defined. It's not one set way. It's not what you read in Google and these are your symptoms, so this is what you're experiencing and you might as well throw in the towel and you know, now you broken. Nah, I don't believe that mess, okay? All right, y'all. So I think that's it for our time. You know, I got a little personal with you. Just go ahead, chew on that, digest on that. You know, if you need more information, let me know, leave a comment. You know, if you ain't about nothing, just keep it moving. You know, you ain't mature to handle this. For all y'all ladies out there that this helps, much love. You know, ain't no shame in my game. My story needed to be told, and so here it is. Alright, y'all, it's time to go. Until the next one, see y'all next Monday. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, like the video, comment, let me know what you think. That's positive, uplifting, and if you ain't digging it, no worries, keep it moving. Alright, y'all, mwah. Until the next one, come on, let's head on out.